Welcome to the Resilience Lounge. I'm your host, and I am so glad you've chosen to spend some time with me today. Let me start with a question. When was the last time you truly, genuinely celebrated an accomplishment? I'm not just talking about the big life altering milestones like a graduation or a promotion. I mean the small stuff. Finishing a difficult report, navigating a tough conversation, sticking to a new habit for a week. More often than not, we achieve something, feel a fleeting moment of relief, and then immediately our minds jump to the next item on the to do list. The moment is gone and the win goes unacknowledged. Today, we're going to talk about why that needs to change. We're exploring the vital and often overlooked practice of celebrating our wins. This isn't about self indulgence or finding an excuse to treat yourself. It's a fundamental tool for building resilience, sustaining motivation, and creating a more joyful and fulfilling life. So settle in, take a breath, and let's talk about the art and science of celebration. Think about the last project you completed. You pour hours, maybe even weeks into it. You stress, you focus, you overcome obstacles, and finally, you cross the finish line. You hit send, you close the laptop, and then what? For so many of us, the very next thought is, okay, what's next? There's no pause, no moment of recognition for the effort, the skill, and the persistence it took to get there. We are living in a world that constantly pushes us forward, and in doing so, we rob ourselves of the rewards that fuel the journey. But why is it so hard to pause and celebrate? Well, there are a few powerful psychological forces at play working against us. It's important to understand them, not as excuses, but as obstacles we can learn to navigate. The first and perhaps most powerful is something called the negativity bias. Our brains are fundamentally wired for survival. From an evolutionary perspective, it was far more important for our ancestors to remember the location of a predator than the location of a beautiful sunset. That instinct persists today. Our brains are like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. You might receive 10 compliments on a presentation, but the one piece of critical feedback is what you'll be thinking about that night. This negativity bias means that our wins, our successes, our positive experiences, they just don't stick as easily. We have to make a conscious effort to hold on to them, to give them weight and significance. If we don't actively pause and celebrate, the positive feeling of accomplishment simply slides away while the memory of the struggle or any minor mistake remains. Acknowledging this bias is the first step. We have to be intentional about savoring the good because our brains won't do it for us automatically. Layered on top of our internal wiring is a powerful external force, hustle culture. We're bombarded with messages that glorify the grind, that tell us sleep is for the weak, and that if we're not constantly striving for the next big thing, we're falling behind. This culture creates a relentless sense of urgency and inadequacy. It whispers that taking time to celebrate is a waste of precious time. It suggests that celebrating a small win is a sign of complacency, that we should keep our heads down until we reach some mythical ultimate destination of success. But the truth is, that destination doesn't exist. The finish line is always moving. If we wait until we've achieved everything we've ever wanted to feel proud of ourselves, we will never, ever celebrate. Hustle culture frames rest and reflection as laziness, when in reality, they are the very things that prevent burnout and sustain long term performance. And finally, there's the internal critic, the voice of imposter syndrome. This is that nagging feeling that you're a fraud, that your successes are due to luck, and that at any moment you'll be found out. If you believe deep down that you didn't truly earn your accomplishments, how can you possibly celebrate them? Imposter syndrome is a master of diminishing our achievements. You get a promotion and it says they must have been desperate. You receive praise for your work, and it says, they're just being nice. It takes a genuine win and discounts it, explaining it away with anything other than your own skill, effort, and talent. This makes celebration feel inauthentic, even fraudulent. To combat this, we have to learn to own our successes. We have to be able to look at our work and say, yes, maybe luck played a part, but my effort and my abilities were the primary drivers here. I earned this. There's one more barrier, a modern giant that looms over all of us, the culture of comparison, amplified 1,000 times over by social media. We scroll through curated feeds showcasing everyone else's highlight reels. We see the promotions, the engagements, the exotic vacations, the perfectly finished projects. In this environment, our own small, incremental progress can feel insignificant. We finish a chapter of our book, but someone else just announced their publishing deal. We finally get a handle on our budget, but someone else just bought their dream home. Comparison is the thief of joy, and it is a powerful deterrent to celebration. It makes our wins feel small and inadequate, whispering that they don't count unless they are as grand or as publicly visible as someone else's. It shifts our focus from our own journey to the perceived journeys of others. To truly embrace celebration, we must consciously disengage from this toxic cycle. We must put on our blinders, focus on our own lane, and remember that our progress is valid and worthy of acknowledgement, regardless of what anyone else is doing. Your journey is yours alone, and every single step forward on that path is a victory. Beyond our personal psychology and the digital noise, there are deep seated cultural scripts that can make celebration feel uncomfortable or even wrong. In many cultures, humility is held up as a primary virtue. We're taught from a young age not to brag, not to draw too much attention to ourselves. The message is that our work should speak for itself and that seeking personal recognition is a sign of vanity. This is often tied to concepts like the tall poppy syndrome, the idea that anyone who stands out too much from the crowd will inevitably be cut down. This fear of social backlash, of being seen as arrogant or self important, can be a powerful inhibitor. We celebrate quietly, if at all, to avoid envy or criticism from our peers. Furthermore, many cultures prioritize the collective over the individual. Success is often framed as a group achievement, a reflection of the family, the team, or the community. While this fosters a beautiful sense of interdependence, it can also make it difficult to acknowledge our own unique contributions. We may feel that celebrating our individual role diminishes the efforts of others, so we downplay our part, shifting the credit to the group and missing a crucial opportunity to validate our own skills and hard work. Understanding these cultural influences is key. It's not about rejecting humility or collective values, but about finding a balance where personal accomplishment can be acknowledged and celebrated without shame or fear. So we have these barriers: negativity bias, hustle culture, imposter syndrome, all telling us to just keep moving. But what does science say? Fortunately, neuroscience provides a powerful argument for hitting the pause button. It all comes down to a wonderful little neurotransmitter called dopamine. Dopamine is often called the feel good chemical, but its role is a bit more nuanced. It's deeply involved in motivation, reward, and memory. When you accomplish something you've been working toward, your brain releases a small burst of dopamine. That release creates a feeling of pleasure and satisfaction. By taking a moment to consciously celebrate, to savor that feeling, you are strengthening the neural pathway associated with that accomplishment. You are essentially telling your brain, hey, pay attention. This thing we just did, it was good. Let's do it again. This process creates a powerful upward spiral, what we can call a motivation loop. It works like this. First, you set a goal and put in the effort. Second, you achieve the goal. That's your win. Third, you pause to celebrate, which triggers that dopamine release. Fourth, your brain logs that entire sequence as a highly rewarding experience. The result? The next time you face a similar task, your brain remembers that positive reward. It anticipates the good feeling that comes with completion, and that anticipation is the very essence of motivation. You become more willing, even eager, to put in the effort again. Conversely, when you consistently ignore your wins, you break this loop. Your brain learns that hard work leads only to more hard work. There's no reward signal. Over time, that's a recipe for apathy and burnout. Celebration is the engine of the motivation cycle. It's the reinforcement that makes us want to keep going. Okay, so we understand the barriers and the science. We're convinced. But what does this look like in practice? How do we actually start celebrating our wins? The first and most crucial step is to radically expand your definition of what counts as a win. We need to stop reserving celebration for earth shattering achievements. A win is not just launching a company, it's also sending the email that sets up the first meeting. A win is not just running a marathon, it's also putting on your running shoes and getting out the door on a day you didn't feel like it. A win is any step in the right direction. It's making a healthy choice. It's choosing kindness in a frustrating moment. It's finishing a single task on your overwhelming to do list. When you start recognizing these moments as legitimate victories, you create dozens of opportunities for celebration every single day. Let's break it down by scale. First, let's talk about celebrating the small daily wins. These celebrations should be brief, simple, and immediate. They are micro doses of reward. For example, you just finished a focused hour of deep work. Instead of immediately jumping into your inbox, take 3 minutes, stand up, stretch, put on your favorite song, and do a little dance in your office. It sounds silly, but the physical movement and music will amplify the positive feeling. Or maybe you resisted the urge to buy something you didn't need. Your celebration could be transferring that exact amount of money into your savings account, making the positive choice tangible. Another powerful tool is verbal affirmation. After a difficult meeting, you can literally say out loud, I handled that with poise and professionalism. I'm proud of myself. Speaking the words gives them power and helps them sink in. The key is to match the celebration to the scale of the win. Small wins deserve small but meaningful acknowledgments. Next up are the medium sized wins. These are the things that take more time and effort. Finishing a significant project at work, reaching a monthly fitness goal, or completing an online course. These accomplishments deserve a more substantial celebration. This is where you can plan a small treat or experience. A fantastic way to celebrate is to share your success with someone you trust. Call a friend or family member who you know will be genuinely excited for you. Hearing their pride and excitement will amplify your own. Other ideas include treating yourself to a meal at your favorite restaurant, buying that novel you've had your eye on, or taking a half day off work to go for a hike or visit a museum. The goal here is to create a distinct and memorable positive experience that you can directly link back to your achievement. It solidifies the connection in your brain. When I accomplish something meaningful, I am rewarded with something joyful. Finally, we have the big wins, the major life milestones, getting a degree, buying a house, landing your dream job. These are the moments that we are generally more inclined to celebrate. But even here, we can be more intentional. Instead of letting the moment pass in a blur, plan a celebration that truly honors the magnitude of the achievement. This could be a party with your closest friends and family, a weekend trip to a place you've always wanted to visit, or investing in something that supports the next chapter of your life. For example, after a major promotion, perhaps you invest in a high quality piece of office equipment or enroll in a leadership course. This type of celebration not only rewards the past achievement, but also invests in your future success, creating a powerful message of self belief. For these big wins, don't be afraid to go all out. These are the anchor points of your life's journey, and they deserve to be honored as such. To make this a consistent habit, it can be helpful to use a tangible tool. One of my favorite methods is the win jar. It's incredibly simple. Find any jar or box. Every day or every week, take a small slip of paper and write down one thing you accomplished that you are proud of. It could be big or small. I finally organized my closet. I spoke up in a meeting. I was patient with my kids during a stressful morning. Fold it up and put it in the jar. Over time, that jar will fill up with hundreds of reminders of your competence and resilience. Then, on days when you're feeling discouraged, when imposter syndrome is loud, or when you feel like you're not making any progress, you can open the jar and read a handful of your past wins. It's a physical, tangible library of your own success, a powerful antidote to self doubt. You can also do this digitally with a wins folder in your notes app or an email draft you keep adding to. The format doesn't matter, the act of recording does. Now, I want to touch on what might be the most transformative aspect of this practice for building resilience. It's the idea of celebrating effort over outcomes. We live in a result oriented world. We praise the victory, the final grade, the sale. But what happens when you put in an immense amount of effort and the result doesn't materialize? What if you work tirelessly on a business proposal, but your company doesn't win the contract? Or you train for months for a race, but get sick on race day? If you only celebrate the outcome, your brain learns that all that effort was a waste. This is incredibly demotivating and can make you afraid to try hard things in the future for fear of failure. The resilient mindset, however, learns to celebrate the process. Celebrate the discipline you showed in your training. Celebrate the new skills you learned while writing that proposal. Celebrate the courage it took to even try. By rewarding the effort, you are reinforcing the behaviors that lead to success in the long run, regardless of the outcome of any single event. You teach yourself that showing up, being persistent, and giving your best are victories in themselves. This decouples your self worth from external results, which is one of the cornerstones of true, unshakable resilience. So, as we bring this conversation to a close, let's recap what we've learned. We've seen that powerful forces like our brain's negativity bias, the pressures of hustle culture, and the inner critic of imposter syndrome all conspire to keep us from acknowledging our accomplishments. But we've also learned that science is on our side. The simple act of celebration triggers a dopamine response that reinforces positive behavior and builds a powerful motivation loop. We've explored a whole toolkit of practical ways to celebrate wins of all sizes, from a 3-minute dance party to a weekend getaway, and the power of tools like a win jar. And most importantly, we've discussed the profound shift that occurs when we learn to celebrate our effort, not just our results. Celebration is not a frivolous add on to a productive life. It is the fuel. It is what turns a grueling climb into a rewarding journey. It's how we build the strength to get back up after we fall, and how we find the joy that makes the whole endeavor worthwhile. Your homework from the Resilience Lounge today is simple. Before this day is over, I want you to identify just one win, and I want you to celebrate it. Say it out loud, write it down, share it with someone, give yourself that moment. You've earned it. Thank you for sharing your time. If this resonated with you today, like us, follow us, give us a heart.